Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Fighting with Friends. It's your boy, brother guy, back again with another preview of One Championships, the Friday fights, 118. And I think we're actually being quite spoiled this week if you think about the fights that's going to be taking place and also the double card week. You know what I mean? You know, the double XP is there. You've got a Friday fights card, and then literally the next morning, not even. Not even 20 hours later, we're going to get another fight card, which is Fight Night 34. If you haven't checked it out, we did a preview of that fight card. It has been released on our YouTube page. Have a look. Maybe to help you get some bets in if you want to bet on the fights. So yeah, go check that out. Go check that out. But before I get into the preview of this fight card, please drop a like, drop a share, hit that notification bell, stay in tuned when we pop off a new video, so we can keep the growth and the support going. So just much love to everybody that's doing that. So as always, we will start at the top of the card. Like I said, it is Friday fights 118. Super hyped for this fight card. I was putting my notes together. I was looking at some of the matches. There's a couple of rematches. There's a trilogy in the main event. There's a rematch in the bottom of the card. Some good debutants that's going to be on this fight card as well. So excited for it. I think I looked at some of the matchups. I was like, okay, all these guys are relatively good at getting finishes. So it should be a fun card. There was a one fighter on the fight that I'm really looking forward to, and that's what's his name? Wang. Is it Wang and Riftin? I think that fight's gonna be absolutely sick. But okay, before I get to that one, let's start with the main event. Like I said, it is a trilogy fight. We see in the third installment between Worapon taking on Sona Sen in the 142 pounds Muay Thai division. So that's catchweight, but I think these guys are pretty much fighting. What's at 140, 145? So what's they're fighting bantamweight, bantamweight dude. So they're pretty big guys. Let's start with Worapon. He's only 22 years old. Worapon, he's only 22 years old. Record in one championship is 4 wins, 4 losses, 0 no contest. So he's been around the block. 22 years old. Excuse me. He's been around the block for 22 years old. He's got 1 win by KO, 2-fight win streak. He beat Ilyas Musayev by unanimous decision in his last fight. Before that, that was the fight when he fought Sona Sen for the second time, and he won that one, also by unanimous decision. Sona Sen, on the other hand, 29 years old, so the older fella. He's recording one championship. He's 6 wins, 3 losses, 0 no contest. He's got 3 wins by KO, 1 win by TKO, and he beat Kamawit puncher by unanimous decision in his last fight. So how do I think this third fight is going to play out? So you would argue that the momentum is on Worapon's side, that being the one that was victorious in their last fight. Both fights they fought before this in the decision, one to Sona Sen, one to Worapon. I think at this point they're very much well versed in terms of knowing their opponent. I'm pretty sure they know exactly what weapons to bring. I really liked the way Worapon fought in that second fight, being very bullish, and really taking the pressure to Sona Sen, eliminating the spaces, attacking the body a lot, really making it difficult for Sona Sen to do what he does best. The Golden Boy loves to fight on the outside, lots of very good combinations, a lot of 1-2s, a lot of good fast kicks, very kickboxing heavy, and he uses that spin and reach advantage very well. But I think Worapon was smart in keeping his guard up high and also being very what's the word I'm looking for? He weaponized his durability because he knew that he could take a shot from Sona Sen. So he was like, I'm willing to walk into that void and take a shot. I'll probably block it, but as long as I'm eliminating that space and I'm getting into the range where I can really hurt you. And that's what he did for round 2 and round 3 in that second fight, and that's why he won the fight in unanimous decision. So I would probably think he's going to be doing more on that. I think Sona Sen is probably going to be smarter in the sense of he's going to move laterally a lot more in this fight and not just go backwards. He's going to be more active. And I think for Sona Sen, what's going to be smart for him in this fight is to I don't know if he can put Worapon out. I don't know if he can knock him out. I mean, anything can happen in France gloves, but Worapon has really leveled up his conditioning if you look at his last couple of fights. Personally, I also feel like he looks a little bit too jacked, in my opinion, but it's making him so durable. So I think what Sona Sen to do in this fight, in my opinion, he should pull away round 1 and round 2 significantly. Maybe even get a knockdown if he can, possible. But if he can't, be so active that you're making Worapon be defensive and he can't actually attack you. You know what I mean? Because Worapon, once he gets into a state of being comfortable, he's like a bulldozer. He just keeps going forward and he he's just relentless pressure. It's usually how he gets his knockdowns or how he gets his wins. He's just relentless pressure. And Son Sen, we've seen in fights before when they get to the third round, he dramatically slows down purely because if you look at his style, it's so combo heavy. He's throwing so much at you, and he's uppercuts. He's doing all sorts of combinations, and he throws a lot of kicks in those combinations as well. You would argue that that's why Son Sen gets a little bit tired when he gets to the third round, is that he's pretty much exhausted his options and exhausted his muscles of like, I've thrown so much at you now. And then what happens is in the third round, Son Sen kind of stays safe for the most part, and then he wins his fighting decision like that. So I think that's probably how he's going to get it done here, is by extending the lead over the first 2 rounds, by being the more active fighter, blast a lot of kicks, especially make the kicks high, blast them high, so that you're forcing Worapon to actually block and not kind of like cross block and then move forward, or just evade and then jump into the void and then throws a hard 1-2 combination or something hard to the body. That's always the risk he'll face. But if he throws high kicks and pops the jab out a lot and then moving from left to right, pop in the jab and throw another high kick, it's going to force Worapon to be defensive. It might even force him to go backwards, which is a very tough thing to do against a fighter like Worapon. It's hard to push him backwards because he's so powerful and he's built like a truck. But I'm gonna go with Worapon in this one. I think the momentum is there, and I feel like he's got the attributes that will be more favorable to him in this fight, being that it's more durable. He's the harder puncher. He's got the better gas tank. He can go the 3 rounds. And also the style that he has is the kind of style that can be a nightmare for a kickboxing style like Son Sen's. If you eliminate the space and you only fight in the void, fight in the clinch, just make it ugly, Son Sen's not going to be able to get his best work off. And for that reason, I'm going to have to give it to Worapon. And again, I have to repeat it. He's got the momentum. And their last fight wasn't that long ago. You know what I mean? It was still in the year of 2025. So, there's history there, and there's also a lot of familiarity between the two guys. And I think Worapon is going to be the one that will get the job done. The only way I see him losing is that he gets out punched. Son Sen's going to land more. Probably not going to hurt him or drop him, but he's going to land more, significantly land more. And that's probably what's going to get Son Sen the victory. That's the only way I can see him winning this fight, actually. Whereas Worapon, I think there's just more avenues, so I'll have to go with the guy where there's more odds, there's more outcomes for him to actually win. So I'm going to get Worapon in that main event. But if you've got a different opinion, like I say always, you know where that comment section is. Let your brother know how, who, and what next. But for speaking of what next, let's go to that co-main event. Fun fight. I have to do a little bit of a deeper dive on these two athletes just because they're fairly new to one championship and they're also both quite young. Suksawut, this is the co-main event. Suksawut, 24 years old, record in one championship is 0 wins, 1 loss, 0 no contest. He lost to Panrit by first round KO. Not much to take away from that fight because the fight didn't really go that long. I think it was like a minute into the fight before he got knocked out. And then Konkula, he's 19 years old and his record in one championship is 1 win, 0 losses, 0 no contest. He beat Mad Singh by round 1 KO in his last fight. And he's only 19 years old. And what I want to highlight for this particular fight is that they're both fairly young. It's 141 pounds catch weight. So they're pretty much fighting flyweight. If you think about it. No, I lie. They're fighting bantamweight. Yeah, they're fighting close to the bantamweight mark. But what's more important for this fight that I wanted to highlight is look at the names underneath their actual names. You know, Suksawut has got PK Senchai written underneath him, and then you got Konkula has got Jit Muyangnon, which is obviously a very familiar German name when you speak about fighters like Rod Tango, who's arguably pound for pound number 1 in the organization. So that kind of tells you that there's talent on display when it comes to this co-main event. I can't really break them down because they've only had 1 fight each, and both fights only lasted a minute long. So there's not much you can really highlight who's going to get what done. What you can highlight is that someone's probably going to go to sleep in this fight purely because the one fighter has been knocked out and the other one got a knockout. So they both kind of are in fights where getting a finish is what their priority is. So for that, I expect a finish for this fight. Who's going to get the finish? I'm not too sure. But I'm actually expecting for these guys to put on a very, very good performance, especially when you're the co-main event. So you're going to have to obviously be considered to be a finisher of a highest order. You're going to be fighting co-main event fights. So yeah, if you've got any opinions about these two young athletes and you've kind of seen more of them outside of one championship, and you've got a little bit of a better information to go off in terms of how the fight would play out, Again, you know what that comment section is. Let your brother know. But I'll keep it moving. Yeah, in the meantime, and then Chhat Pit. Yeah, that is the next fight. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. Right, let's take it to the next one, where we are sticking within the 140-pound range. We got Chhat Pit taking on Karat. That both of them are making their debuts. Chhat Pit, I was able to have a little bit more deeper dive into him. 24 years old. This is his one debut, as you can see on screen. They got the NPC faces. He was supposed to fight two times in one championship. Both bouts were cancelled. Not too sure why. Prior to that, he's on a 3-fight winning streak coming into one championship. So this that to know he's I think those 3 wins, he's got 3 finishes. And then Karat on the other hand is 19 years old. This is his one debut, and unfortunately, when you type his name in on Topology, for example, they don't give you any history on the young man. So I don't know if he's actually fought competitively prior to this fight. So let's see what happens. Again, you know what I always do when it comes to these NPC kind of fighters in the one championship. I don't give detailed breakdowns or picks just because there aren't any information to go off it. So it's gonna be a new thing for me to watch these guys as much as it will be for literally everybody else that's gonna see them fight for the first time on this fight card. So on that note, we will keep it moving, and you're gonna expect me to keep moving a little bit faster on this fight card purely because there's a lot of debut fighters on this fight card. Let's keep it moving. So we've got a fight between Pascal taking on Tanawat. This is 126 pounds Muay Thai. So these guys are fighting in the strawweight, not flyweight, strawweight. Flyweight is 155 for one championship. So this is the strawweight guys. So give some stats on the two of them. Pascal is 22 years old. His record in one championship is 1 win, 0 losses, 0 no contest. He beat Petkiri by first round TKO. Nice left hook. Dropped his fighter. Very, very cool in that first round. Tanawat, 27 years old. Record in one championship is 2 wins, 2 losses, 0 no contest. 1 win by TKO. He lost to Pataknin. Where is Pataknin, by the way? He's been spoken to a lot of people in the atomweight division, and I'm like, wait, what happened to this guy? Pataknin, yeah, beat him by unanimous decision in that last fight. I mean, before that, Tanawat knocked out Brazil by first round TKO. Yeah, so how do I think this fight's gonna play out? I'm gonna have to favor Tanawat. I've watched him more. I feel like he's very dangerous for that lower weight class. Powerful punching, very aggressive, very forward, front foot heavy. Loves to attack the legs, but his main weapons is getting in close and letting the boxing combinations go. Fantastic fighter to watch. I think he's just going to be the overwhelming favorite here. I think Pascal has got good boxing, but that's about it. A little bit of a paperweight, in my opinion, in terms of, when I say paperweight, I mean that he's a little bit scrawny. He's a little bit scrawny, a little bit, doesn't have a lot of armor. Say armor, I'm referring to like muscle tissue. And his boxing is okay. It's not like it doesn't tuck the hands, doesn't get the guards right when he throws of his boxing combinations. The way he threw that left hook, to me, it was perfect in his last fight, purely because his opponent was already rocked at that point and was on his back foot, pretty much going down already, and then he just threw that left hook, kind of sealed the deal. Tanawat on the other hand is not going to give him that space and time. He's very, very aggressive. Tanawat is super aggressive, and he likes to be the one that's dictating the pace, likes to hunt for knockouts. So I think he's going to be the one that's going to get the job done there. I don't think he's going to get the finish, but I do think that he's going to be the one that's going to be on the front foot predominantly of that fight. The only thing I would kind of question or be wary of for Tanawat is we've seen so many times in one championship and also in a lot of fight organizations when a fighter underestimates his opponent or her opponent, and they end up getting a little bit reckless and they think they can get the job done, and then they get caught or something. You saw that fight with Panrit. Who did he fight in his last fight? Oh, the name is on my tongue now. I just can't get to it. Kasim. He was trying to bully Kasim, and he was doing the right thing by closing the distance and really like being the one that's been put under pressure. And then he landed something hard on Kasim, but not enough to significantly put Kasim in danger. But then Pandit took that as a moment of, I can go in here and really put the pressure on this guy. But then he let his guard down and he got clipped with a left hook. So that's the one thing I think Tanawat might be, what's the word? he might fall into some kind of trap like that if he finds that he's bullying Pascal, and the next thing you know, he's getting caught by something. Because Pascal can box at the end of the day. So it's a good fight, fun fight. But I think Tanawat's going to win the fight either by a second or first round finish, or he's going to get the job done by unanimous decision. You know how to comment if you have a different opinion. But let's keep it moving to the fight that I think is going to be fight of the night, in my opinion, purely because of who's on display here and also the styles that they bring. We have Riftin Masur taking on Wang in the atomweight division, Muay Thai. Fun fight for them to put together. Well done, One Championship, for getting these two kids to throw down. For me, these are two fighters that are going to be a very, very recognizable names in the future. They're already starting to become fan favorites purely because of the performances that they put on. But I think that it will be in a matter of time where we start seeing these guys fight more frequently and just keep racking up names and becoming a fan favorite for sure. So let's get into some numbers. Riftin Masur is 22 years old. Record in One Championship is 3 wins, 1 loss, 0 no contest. 1 win by KO, 2 wins by TKO. That kind of tells you that all of his wins has come by a finish. He beat Nongbia, who's a very good striker. I was actually surprised that he won that fight. He beat Nongbia by first round TKO. And then we have Wang, who's only 17 years old. His record in One Championship is 1 win, 0 losses, 0 no contest. He beat Chhat Pit by first round KO, and he put in a performance of a lifetime in that fight. He just looked like he wasn't going to lose in that debut. He's a firecracker of a fighter. Got good kicks. I think the one thing I noticed about Wang in the short time that he fought in that fight against Chhat Pit was that he brought the youthful vibrance and very creative. Because he had Chhat Pit rocked twice before the finishing blow, which was a deep kick to the face. He basically knocked down TKO'd Chhat Pit with a tip. He tipped him to the face. But before he got to that tip, there was a lot of handwork, boxing combinations that he was throwing that actually had Chhat Pit all sorts of trouble. The speed on Wang. Also, like, he just looks like someone that's been fighting for years, for like many years, and he's been in there with the best guys. But let's see. I think Riftin is probably going to test him. I think he's going to be a opponent that's going to really test Wang. It will be Riftin, because Riftin is also very similar style, gangster kind of opponent. He's got that kill shot in him. So he's not really someone that's just going to punch you to a decision. Riftin runs for finishes. He's got 3 finishes in One Championship. He will go at you and you will get that knockout. So I think it's going to be a great test for Wang. If Wang gets through this, I think he's going to make the stadium here up. He's going to become talk of the town. I promise you, he's going to become talk of the town if he gets through this fight. But that being said, I just feel that Riftin is going to be a class above. Because Riftin, in my opinion, he's right there. He's teetering on that level of being top 5 contendership. He's teetering on that level of taking on someone like a Boza or a Alif or Al Jamari. You know, he's there. He's teetering on that line. So I think a win over Wang in a very good fashion is going to put Riftin into a position where he can call out a higher level or potential contact with athlete. For Wang, if he gets the job done, yeah, like I said, he's just gonna become the talk of the town. He's gonna become the fan favorite for sure. He's already a fan favorite. But this fight's gonna be explosive. It's gonna be fast paced. Don't blink. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be fun, and I just think that it's gonna be the fight of the night. And again, before I move on, I think Riftin's gonna get the job done there. But whoever wins, it doesn't matter to me. I'm a fan of both guys, so it doesn't matter to me who will get the job done. I just want to see a very good fight. I'm very convinced we're gonna get a good fight there. Right, let's keep it moving. Again, another fascinating bout. I was shocked to see the age here. Pit. How do you say this man's surname? Wang Luang Rodjok. His surname. Anyway, he's only 18 years old, and I was like, how the hell is he only 18 years old? They could have won championship is 2 wins, 1 loss, 0 no contest, 1 win by KO, 1 win by TKO, 2 fight wins which he beat Pit Naru by KO in his last fight. I mean, he only has finishes, let's be honest. He just KOs everybody. He's taking on Pet Tanwa, who's 22 years old. This is going to be his One Championship debut. Again, another fighter that doesn't have any topology information. So there's nothing to go off. I don't know if he's fought outside of One Championship. I don't know if he's been up against other good athletes. But they're giving him against Pet, who is a very dangerous fighter for that atomweight division. A lot like Song Chanoi, power punching, good kicks. really composed, doesn't really get reckless, picks his shots really well, fights like someone that's got so much experience. So I'm just gonna go with Pit. I know they both have Pit in the beginning of their name, but the one that I'm referring to is the one with the picture. I think Pit's going to be the one that will get the job done here. So far, no one has really been able to get around his knockout power. The one loss that he does have was against Masur. And I think Masur is a very big dude for atomite, strong. I don't even remember if that fight was in the atomite division, but he got KO'd in the third round in that fight. So that kind of tells you what I mean when I say he lost against what's his name, Masur. There we go. Powerful punches. So I'm gonna go Pit for the win here. I think he's got the better boxing. Well, I can't say that because I haven't seen Tanawat fight before. But I'm expecting another knockout here because that's the kind of fights that Pit is in. He's either getting finished or he's the one that's finishing people with quite easy fashion, by the way. I don't know where he gets the power from, but for the atomweight division, he's starching people. So I think it's making him. He's only 18 years old, so sky's the limit here. I think it's going to be a problem for that division going forward. Let's go with Pit. If you have a different opinion, you know where to drop a comment. But let's keep it moving to the main event of the undercard, where we see the return of Ortis Waghorn taking on Hakim Bah. So I think this is Hakim's no, Hakim didn't debut. This is his second fight. This is bantamweight Muay Thai. These guys are big for bantamweight, by the way. Ortis Waghorn, he's 23 years old. He's getting one championship. He's 1 win, 2 losses. There no contest. 1 win by TKO. He's on a 2-fight losing streak at the moment. That's okay because he lost against some really good fighters, right? He lost to Pentor by third round KO, in his last fight. He beat Kong Klai by third round TKO in his debut fight. Then he lost to Hakim after that. So that kind of highlights to he lost 2 really, really good fighters. And Hakim's also fighting this weekend. And Hakim is also in the bantamweight division. Excited to see that. Excited to see the bantamweight division continuously growing. You know, Hakim Bah, he's 28 years old. His record one championship is 1 win, 0 losses, 0 no contest. He beat Bunlet by round 1 KO. So I think this fight's going to play out. Someone's going to sleep. Hakim Bah's got a very kickboxing heavy style. Fast 1-2 combinations. Very light on his feet. Those high kicks, those body kicks, but mainly those high kicks. But fights like those really kind of fighters, you know, where they're just fast with their boxing combinations. Very good check left hook. Ortis Waghorn, he's a fighter that's fighting out of the UK. So he's got that UK style, right? Almost traditional Muay Thai-esque. Elbow heavy, likes to get into the clinch. Sometimes Ortis Waghorn lets himself be too reckless and then he gets caught in the gunfight. And sometimes he comes off second best, right? I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's the taller fighter here as well. Ortis Waghorn, he's 5'10", and Hakim's also 5'10". But I think Otus has got the reach advantage though. He's got the longer arms, he's got the longer legs. I think for this fight, Otus doesn't have to rush to get himself back into the win column, right? I say rush, I mean in the fight, he doesn't have to really be so aggressive and hunt for that finish. I think the finish will present itself. Hakim is probably going to dance a lot, be hard to track down. So I'm Otus, I attack the calves, attack the leg kick a lot of the times. Throw pop out the jab. When Hakim throws a jab, you throw it over and right, get him backed up, drop another leg kick on him every single time. Basically, by doing that, it will slow down a fighter like Hakim. And he can't really move laterally or in and out as fast as he would like to. Right? You also take away his pace, so he can't step onto his front leg to sit down on a punch and throw something hard. So if I'm Otus in this fight, use that reach. Pop out the jab consistently so that Hakim can rethink his entry. And like I say, when Hakim throws that jab, you just throw a hard overhand right on the jab. Then more importantly, use those long legs. Throw high kicks to make him block. Attack the forearms, make it forearms numb. Keep the body. Maybe throw roundhouses to the body. Hard body kicks as well. Then ultimately, if you take away those calf kicks, because what's going to happen is Hakim's going to obviously move left, right. He's going to move left, right a lot. So when he does those side lateral movements, you attack the leg, bang, right there. And you take away that base. So Otus has got a lot of work to do in this fight. And I think by fighting a more patient fight, it will bring up that knockout. Knockout will present itself for him. Whereas Hakim's probably going to try and put the pace, fight like you know who fought fights like him, freestyle ball, very similar style. So I think that's what we're gonna get in this fight here. Is a very high pace from Hakim. try to be fast, try to really work the 1-2s and the kicks. And Ortis Waghorn, if he keeps his wits about him and not get sucked into a brawl to be like, I just want to punch you out, I think he can win. Because he's got the stuff to do that. He just needs to be very, very, very patient. So I'm going to go with Ortis Waghorn. But I say that lightly because I've seen him I've seen the 2 losses he has taken, and those losses has come because they fighters outclassed him. You know, we have to remember that Otus is only 23 years old, so fighters outclassed him. So let's see if he's learned a lot, because that his last fight that he had was what, 2025, January 17th. There's a lot of time since then that he could have really leveled up his game. You know, so let's go Ortis Waghorn. In the meantime, we'll keep it moving. Another fun fight, and it's a return of Chama fighting out the Superbond training camp. He's taking on Logan Chan. I think Logan doesn't have any information either, so I'm not going to really do too much on this one. This is at 140 pounds Muay Thai. Chama is 26 years old. His record in one championship is 2 wins, 0 losses, 0 contest, 1 win by TKO. He beat Super Jang by 3rd round TKO, and that was a very good fight because Super Jang was beating him for 2 rounds. Super Jang was out punching him, significantly outlanding him for 2 rounds, and then in the 3rd round, Chama just put down on his mouthpiece and went to work, and it got in the knockout. So I think he needs to do something like that earlier in the fight and not wait until the 3rd round. I think maybe round 1 you can assert dominance. Don't fish for the KO. Assert your dominance, and then in round 2 you can take up the level, because you can expect in the 2nd round. Generally in the Muay Thai fights, 2nd round is where fighters start to ramp up the pace, right? Because they only have 3 rounds and it's 3 minutes each. So I think for Chama, what he does is in the 1st round, fight at 3/4 pace, assert your dominance, show that you are very powerful. And then the 2nd round, you kind of match your opponent's pace. Maybe sometimes if you see they can't, you see them pushing, but they're pushing you is not really making you get tired. And you push the pace even more. You go even harder at him, and you really make him feel, listen, I'm actually a lot better than you. And then possibly in the 3rd round, if he survives the 2nd round, go for the finish in the 3rd round. You only have it 1 round left, right? Into the gas tank there. But the whole point is for Chama not to really wait, because you could lose rounds by doing that. So I think in those 2 rounds where he's preserving gas tank or he's preserving his energy, you still need to assert your dominance. You still need to show your opponent that you're not really going to get pushed over. You are competitive for these 2 rounds. But then in the 3rd round, you have to pull away from him, right? So I think that's probably what's going to happen here. Chama is going to be a bit patient in the first, maybe 2 rounds. But you can expect in that 2nd round, going into the 3rd, that Chama is going to really go hard. It's going to go very hard. And you can expect a lot of body kicks coming from him. Coming out of the Superbond training camp, you can expect Chama to throw a lot of kicks. A lot of high kicks, a lot of body kicks, but he has very good boxing combinations. I think he fights southpaw as well, if I remember correctly. So you expect that left hand to come very straight and fast down the pipe, and you can expect a lot of power to come from it as well. Let's see what happens. I'm really hyping up Chama here. It's only because I haven't seen Logan fight before. Hopefully Logan comes into this one and puts on a good performance for himself and for the fans, and maybe even gets an upset here. I don't know, but let's see how it happens. If you know anything about him, all the Hong Kong hopeful, if you are watching Fighting with Friends and you know anything more about Logan Chan, let me know, please. Right, let's keep it moving. Another debutant in Zhang Jin Tao. And again, typed in information on Zhang Jin Tao, and it reads his record is 0-0-0. So I was like, this can't be true. Like, you know, I'm sure he's fought other people, but it's hard to find information on him. He is taking on Hiroki Naru, who is kickboxing, like, not royalty, but kickboxing legend status, even though he's only 22 years old. Like, he's got a lot of fights in kickboxing, and he's like predominantly winning most of that fights. I think he only has like 3 losses or something like that in his Tapology page. A couple of cancelled bouts here and there. But in one championship, his record is 3-0-0. That's no losses, and get this, all 3 of those wins came by TKO. Fantastic striker. Brilliant to watch. 139 pounds. So what's that? They fighting. He's pretty much close to a bantamweight mark as well. He needs to go up 5 more pounds to get to that limit. So he's teetering between the bantamweight flyweight region. But I think he's a bantamweight to be real. He's quite a stacked dude for a Japanese fighter. So I'm going to go Hiroki just because I think his kickboxing is on a high level and it's difficult to beat, and he's a very good finisher. So he's probably going to get another KO or TKO finish here. He loves to get people out in the first round. A lot of his fights ends first round, 3 knockdowns kind of fight. So that kind of shows you what his buzz is all about. So I'm going to go Hiroki Naru, just Naru for being the more deadly striker. Only at 22 years old, which means he's only going to get better from this, right? Let's see. Like I say, with all these debutant fighters, they have the high potential of coming in there and performing some upsets. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna keep it moving. I don't have notes for these other fights. That's this one, for example, Mon Yod Haksi or Haksei, fighting out of Laos, 119, 119 pounds kickboxing fight. Don't know much about him. Haven't seen him fought before. This is his debut. Hard to find information about him. Kijuro Shiba, I think he's fought once in one championship before. Yeah, had one fight. He fought against Jamal Cooper, beat him in third round KO. That was November 2024. Fighter Fights 87. So I think I might have missed that fight actually. So I don't know much about it, but he won the fight by KO. So, and it was also 3 rounds. So that's a good sign. That means he can fight 3 rounds. Let's see what happens here. Kickboxing, you know how these fights go. They go really fast, it's high pace. Maybe Kuchiro will get another finish. And then I do have notes about this fight. This is a rematch, and it's also featherweight MMA where the division does have some movement. If you think about the fight that's going to be taking place on the Fight Night 54 card as well. Carlos Alvarez is 26 years old. His record in one championship is 5 wins, 1 loss, 0 no contest, 2 wins by TKO, 3 wins by sub, 5 wins came by finish, 2 fight wins. He beat Sia Matsuda by first round sub. Was it a last choke? I think he lands on him. He's been around the block. Really good, well-rounded fighter. Strong, durable, good striking, good grappling. He's a very well-rounded athlete, very aggressive. Sometimes he can get a little bit tired. And that's what we saw in the fight against Nachin Sat. That's his opponent. Nachin Sat is 27 years old. His record in one championship is 3 wins, 1 loss, 0 no contest. He's got 1 win by TKO. 2 wins by sub, and he beat Su Kwan by third round sub in his last fight. So that's what you kind of get here. You're going to get a balls-to-wall kind of fighter. These Mongolian guys are really, really good in terms of having a very good conditioned camp. They're hard to beat in terms of breaking them down. They don't really get tired. And they're also well-rounded athletes. They fight good striking and they fight really good with grappling. I think that's what kind of tied out Carlos in that last fight. Even though both guys got a knockdown in that fight, Carlos was very aggressive, but he was aggressive in a way that wasn't controlled. He was really gassing himself out a lot in that fight. When Nachin Sat was patient, he was selecting his shots really well. He was getting Carlos hurt a lot of the times in that fight. So fascinating rematch. I think Carlos is going to want to get the run back. I think he's going to have to be patient. And when they are in the grappling exchanges, be composed, be diverse positions, get offensive positions. Don't be hasty to get into top control. You will get there. Wrestling or grappling in overall, that includes like judo, wrestling, that includes jiu-jitsu. It's a very chess kind of game. So you really have to be patient and really look at your positioning. And when you force positionings, they always say in grappling and jiu-jitsu, if you're forcing a lock or forcing a transition, then you're probably doing it wrong, or you're probably going to get hurt in that transition. It needs to be easy. And by doing that, you need to create leverage in your movement. When you have leverage, you can collect locks, you can collect positions, you can reverse positions. I think to get to that state, you have to be composed. But if you're rushing for it, you either gridlock, or you get caught in things you don't want to get caught in, or you could risk injuring yourself as well. So I think in this fight, it's probably going to be a well-rounded, fast-paced fight. A lot of grappling, a lot of striking. Someone will either get finished in the first round, or it goes into the second and third round, and you can see them just get tired in the third round because of all the extensive grappling. Who's going to win? I want Carlos Alvarez to get the run back. So I would love to see these guys throw down at least another time because they're just that good. And I personally believe, I don't think they're in the top 5 rankings of the featherweight MMA. I don't think so. I don't even know if One Championship has got the featherweight MMA rankings on the website. Let me just double check that. Featherweight MMA. Yeah. Featherweight MMA. So Martin O'Yin retired, so he shouldn't be in the top 5, right? Tankai and Akbar Abdullayev is probably going to fight again because of the missing weight from Akbar Abdullayev, and he really smoked Tankai like he was nothing. So they're probably going to run that fight back. Tan Lee, I don't know if he's staying around at 36 years old. He's probably going to be like, yo, I had 2 shots at the title. I even held the belt before. I might want to call it over here. Samuel Gasnov is taking on Gary Tonin, who should be in the rankings in my opinion. Because he beat Samuel Gasnov and he's ranked number 3. So I think Gary Tonin should actually be number 3. And then Ilya Fremonov, even though he's a great fighter, he's struggling to make weight. He's struggling to make a fight. A lot of his fights are getting cancelled. So I'm like, why is this dude still ranked number 4? And then why I'm bringing up these rankings for you is because I personally feel like Carlos Alvarez and Nashin Sat in those rankings. They should be. They've been beating guys. They're on sticks. They got finishes, consistent finishes. They only have finishes in their wins. So I just feel like this fight has got a lot of risk in terms of one of these guys could put themselves in that top 5 ranking. They get a very good win here, and then maybe get themselves like a top 5 shake-up. They could call out maybe someone like a Tan Lee or Shamil Gasnov or Gary Tonin, depending on who wins in their fight this weekend. That's what's at stake here for these two guys. So I'm fascinated with this fight. I do believe it's gonna go to a finish. I don't think we're gonna get a decision win here, just because of how they fight. I think it's gonna go to either first or second round finish here. But let's go, Carlos. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna keep moving to the last preview and the opening fight of the bout, where we see Manard Atole taking on Gabriel Leonetti from Italy. This is going to be a good fight. I did some a little bit of research on them. Manard Atole is only 20 years old. His debut. This is going to be his one debut, but he's currently undefeated outside of one championship. 5-fight win streak, 4 finishes in those 5 fights at 20 years old, all TKOs. You know what you're going to get there. And this is also strawweight MMA, so that's going to be fast paced. Gabriel Leonetti is 25 years old. He's also going to be his one championship debut. He's fought 5 times outside of one championship, with 4 wins and 3 finishes. So yeah, that's kind of what you're going to get here. He's 2 guys that are very good. Leonetti, he's got a sub. He's got 2 subs to his name, and then I think 2 subs, 1 TKO. And then obviously Manard Atole, he's just got TKO, so he's obviously a striker. I haven't seen them fight, but I love those statistics. So I think we're going to get another finish in this fight as well. And it could be a very good curtain raiser for the fight card. So give me your thoughts about that one, ladies and gentlemen. That is my time. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop something in the comments if you've got any opinions about these fights. We will be doing a live watch along this fight card for One Fighter Fights. That's tomorrow at 2:30 South African time on YouTube. And then we'll also be doing a live for, bring it up on screen for you there, Fight Night 34, the immortal Reagan Ursel taking on George Jarvis G-Unit for that lightweight Muay Thai strap. Let's go. We're doing a live for that one as well. So hope to see all of you there so we can get involved with some good banter while we watch some very good fights. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. That is my time. I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.